An art and history scholar who has done a lot of research papers on Indian art, Shivaditya Singh is our guest for the day. He is postgraduate in history of art from National Museum Institute of History of Art Conservation and Museology, Delhi. He's a trained museum professional, storyteller, and a walk curator, a budding poet, a historical fiction writer, and an active social media activist to raise awareness regarding local nature and local built heritages. Shivaditya is a multifaceted personality. He is also a student member of the India National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage and has worked for India City Walks as a heritage walk leader, walk coordinator, and city champion. Let's hear about his hometown, Panna in Madhya Pradesh, from him. Welcome, Shiva, to Oli Green.
Thank you, Arvid. Thank you for having me over. And I'm really fascinated to be here and talk about my hometown, about my journey. So, as you asked about Panna, so this town is a very little sleepy town and it's located in Bundelkhand region in Madhya Pradesh. And if I have to put it this way, that you can call this town as a town of surprises. And why do I call it as a land of surprises? Because we are full of diamonds and tigers, something which fascinates every humankind all over this earth. So we have bundle of stories coming out of these forests or out of these diamond quest in Panna, which make this land a land of surprises. This is a very young town, if I have to put it that way. Like if you have to go through the historical records, this land was actually found and made as a capital by the known warrior Maharaj Chhatrasal, who is actually worshipped as one of the or the leaders or the topmost hero of Bundelkhand, who actually led a freedom movement and established this land which we call today as Bundelkhand. Panna is a very interesting town if you see. Although we have cut off from the a lot of development since independence, but its culture and nature heritage always stood and always had a beacon of culture and beacon of its representation. There are a lot of temples which makes up the landscape of this town. If we have to count, then I actually put it in this way. I have given a very term for it, that is the Great Eight of Panna. So these all temples dots around the city and makes the heritage landscape of this town very beautiful. There is a lot if you see from coming from the diamond aspect of this town, because since diamond is something which has fascinated the civilizations across the globe. And if you see, we have a very long and very rich legacy of diamonds in Panna, since we have the mines here. And if I have to put it, I mean, if I have to tell you and actually inform the public, the viewers, there is this NMDC in Panna which people hardly know about it. That is the only state-operated diamond mining in the country, and the in across Asia, if I have to say it. So it's very interesting. This town itself is all fondled by thick vegetation with mountains and rivers running around. It makes it kind of an isolated yet very appealing place for tourism, for traveler, for adventure, and for all category. It has all stuff to cater the birds of the people who love to rover and love to adventure. So that is my hometown, Panna.
No wonder that you love nature and you love the rich heritage of your place. I mean, but then how did you develop this passion to go around and see the heritage, built heritages?
Yeah, actually, I see it in a very, I have a very mixed kind of a emotion here, since I have been born and brought up into a place which was full of history and nature. So keeping yourself away from it was not an option I have. So I always interacted and always uh, was made a part of it. Secondly, my family story or family history itself is very interesting, since we are the people who hail from hilly regions, and we settled in central India around 1920s and 1930s, when my great grandfather made it to central India, and he was at the Nagaon cantonment, which was the headquarter of the British at that time before independence. And there where my great grandfather met for the very first time to the king, then the king of Panna, His Highness Yadvendra Singh. And Yadvendra Singh was of the opinion that my great grandfather should come to Panna state and take the charge of the Chhatrasal infantry then there in the state. And that is how we made to the Panna, and that is how the story began here. And since my great grandfather and the legacy I come from, my family legacy has always been of celebrating culture, heritage, women empowerment, if I have to put it that way, because my great grandmothers, my the ladies of my house has always been given exposures to go out and study, see the world from different perspectives. Even the children were encouraged to go out and study in Allahabad. Some of them have been sent to the Christian College of London, Christian College, not London, Christian College of Allahabad, and so this legacy somewhere inspired me to involve myself into whatever I have been exposed to. And my great grandfather's love for Panna has somewhat blessed me and driven me to explore more about this little beautiful town called Panna.
Being in a place like that, I mean, you will also be involved with a lot of people who stay around the jungles, like tribal people.
Yes.
Then you will also be interacting with them in terms of human animal conflicts. All these things might be happening. So, how has been your experience with that? I mean, being close to a jungle or a tiger reserve.
Yeah. So this comes from, I mean, this particular kind of a experience, I would say, has always been there in our childhood and until date because of our father. My father is a very grounded man. He has always been connected to the communities living around the forest or in between the tiger reserve before when they weren't rehabilitated. So my father has a very close knit with these communities. So on our jeep, in our open jeep, we used to accompany our father and visit these people from our very childhood. At that time we did not understood that why my parents or my father usually take us to these villages, to these forest area, and we did not appreciate it much because we were the kid, we were looking for the light and more gala and on a place with all that a kiddish charm, I would call it. But slowly and gradually we learned and we developed an interest into this, and we started associating ourselves with more with the forest and the forest community. And to be honest about it, I have seen people being very close to my family, with my father especially, and I started developing after being exposed to, I mean, going out and studying in boarding in Jabalpur and then to Delhi, of studying of them, their socio-historical background. I've started developing a corner for them, and that was one of the reasons why I always wanted to look more within what I see when I give visit to them, I stay with them, I eat with them. So that was one of the reasons why I started developing a corner for it. And yes, as you mentioned about human wildlife contact and conflicts, this is something which has always been a major issue in Panna since people and the forest live side by side. And there are incidents where things has gone worst, where it has reached to a brink where there would have been a collapse and there would have been something disastrous. But then there are instances where, I mean, the world is should consider this case study of reading how Panna and its forest have always coexisted and lived in harmony. So there are many, I mean, if we count upon.
Okay. Now, you're also a certified master trainer of Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board under the category Cultural Tourism. What do you exactly mean by that? What is the role of a certified master trainer?
So recently, Madhya Pradesh Tourism, I would like to mention the name of the one who, name of the officer. I call him Sir Srivastav. He took an initiative under the aegis of Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board that he invited invited people from across the districts of Madhya Pradesh to get trained into this TOT training, which is called training of trainer.
जायज़ है और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट, क्योंकि उन्होंने ही पन्ना को क्या नाम है PWD दिया, पन्ना को एक एजुकेशन दिया, पन्ना को रोड्स और घाट्स दिए, पन्ना को टेम्पल दिए। मतलब उन्होंने अपने 20 साल की पीरियड में इतना रिमार्केबल कंस्ट्रक्शन छोड़ के गए हैं कि हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि भाई पन्ना के पास स्पेसेस नहीं है। आज पन्ना के पास बलदाव मंदिर है। आज अजयगढ़ घाट जैसा कंस्ट्रक्शन कराना एक बहुत अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा टास्क है। दो पहाड़ों को काट के जोड़ के एक घाट बनाना और अजयगढ़ से अपने इकोनॉमिक ट्रेड्स और जो नॉर्दर्न बाउंड्रीज है उनको जोड़ लेना, ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है। स्कूल खड़ा कर देना उस समय जब इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं बनी थी, तो प्रताप जैसा स्कूल खड़ा कर देना, ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है। पीडब्ल्यूडी खड़ा कर देना पन्ना में, रोडों का कंस्ट्रक्शन काम करना स्टार्ट कर देना। तो आई थिंक being a friend with the power, the colonial power, if you are doing your purpose of serving people of your city, you are doing the right job. You did it. I mean, कहते हैं ना कि आपने अपना काम पूरा करके गया। पन्ना को वो चीजें देखी गई कि आज आपके पापा, उनके पापा और उनके पापा भी रुद्र प्रताप से ही पास आउट है। मेरे
For many multifaceted regions connected to tourism, he wanted us to get trained into it so that whenever there's some tourism and cultural oriented activities, we can train and mobilize the local people. I mean, at least the interested, enthusiastic people to conduct and to go ahead with these activities in the districts. So I was selected from my district. I was very thankful and I was glad, since mostly it was the officials and some people who were in government services were given chance. But since a mere student and studying into some colleges, I was asked to be a part of this. So I was very glad that I have been made it to it. And I was the youngest member of that particular training. And I was lucky to be a part of it.
Okay, you've also done more than 50 cultural and heritage walks.
Yes.
What exactly is that? I mean, what do you mean by cultural and heritage walk?
Yes, so I remember my first cultural or the first heritage walk was in the year 2017. Before that, I did attend many heritage walks in Delhi and other places as well. But I was all set to lead one in my hometown, and I was very adamant about it. I convinced the heritage enterprise, these people who do these heritage walks, that my town have a lot of potential. Let's explore it together. I am there, and I'll go with the board to do it and make it successful story. And in year 2017, we did a very first heritage walk. Thanks to courtesy to Madhya Pradesh Tourism and India City Walks, they gave a chance. They selected around 12 cities from my big state, Madhya Pradesh, and Panna was one of them. And I made sure that Panna shouldn't be cut off from the list, because like they weren't able to find people to conduct these heritage work, because that was a very scripted thing which has to be taken into a very official way. But I made sure that we did it, and it was a very successful story. From 2017, we started this journey. Basically, heritage walk is to take the locals, enthusiastic people around the heritage and the monument, or a craft shop, or maybe some workshop, and introduce them with the heritage, living heritage, tangible and intangible, to them in a very poetic and in a very storytelling manner, so that they can actually exchange and interconnect to that particular existing art and nature. So that is the heritage walk, and the journey was very beautiful. From since 2017, we have no looking back, and now, since because of the lockdown, we were cased inside our house, conditioned inside out, but did not discourage us. Soon we will gonna have a temple heritage walk in our town.
Oh, great. And now, I mean, you just finished your postgraduate in history of art from National Museum Institute. I mean, what is the study all about? What is this master's that you've done, and what is your road ahead? I mean, what is the next step?
So when I completed my graduation from Delhi University, from Delhi College of Arts and Commerce, I fell a sick for a year. So I wasn't well, and I was in this dilemma that what next? I mean, what actually I should go forward to. Then there's one friend of mine who told me about this particular subject, and but I wasn't familiar with it, and I thought it's all right. So the name of the subject is history of art. There this exists a word history. I can actually do something with this. I wasn't sure of this particular subject, what actually it offers. I took it, I cracked it. There was a proper test for that, and I did an interview, and I did it. When I enrolled myself and I learned about the syllabus, I was excited and overwhelmed and thrilled that this is what I'm going to study: monuments, sculptures, paintings, textile. I mean, all things which you actually see around you as a visual art, even the clothes you and I wear, even the table mattress we see, or the fabric we see around, or any kind of a carving, painting, and everything. A detailed socio-cultural and socio-political analysis of these art pieces is what my subject is going to talk about. So I was really fascinated when I took this, and I was lucky that I took this subject. So the subject is all about talking art in a very passionate manner. I mean, be it Leonardo da Vinci's paintings, or maybe of Raja Ravi Verma's paintings, or Ram Kinkar Bed's sculptures, or maybe Rabindranath Tagore's paintings, and all that. That is all. I mean, to talk of architectural history, we studied temples across India, starting from Marthan Sun Temple from Jammu Kashmir till to Bhubaneswar to Madurai, all sort of that art and architecture which made in the Indian subcontinent. The temples of Kerala, especially, we have been given reference to, since it's a wooden architecture. A lot has been changed over time in that context. So we have studied the art and architecture across India, and that is what my subject offers. And I would like to take this opportunity to tell people and the viewers here that this subject is a very specialized subject offered by NMI, National Museum Institute, deemed to be university. There are three subjects: MA History of Art, MA Museology, and MA Conservation. So all these three subjects are the specialized subject in the field of art and heritage. And my college is also looking forward to some more departments, which is again going to be associated with heritage. And I'm actually fascinated to telling you about this subject because there is no ground information about the very subject. So I want people to know that there exists this subject. If you find any link and interest to it, I'm always available. And my page, Heritage Society of Panna, is always open to you guys. You can text me and collect the information if you desire.
And what is the next step? I heard you're going for your doctoral, I mean PhD work.
Yes, yes. So
What is that going to be?
that is my next step or my aim to complete PhD. And I'm since I did my MA thesis, my dissertation in taking my Panna into the consideration. The title of my thesis was the Forgotten Temples of the Art and Architecture of the Forgotten Temples of Panna. So I would love to carry forward it, and most probably, I will be working on another set of temples which have gone under the forest cover or are located on the hilltops, but aren't under the notice of the respective department and the people. I would love to bring them into fold and work on them, and that is my another aim.
Okay. See, I mean, you've gone through and visited and studied a lot about the heritage buildings in India, the nature of India, a lot of things like that. But if there is one message that you would want to convey to our viewers, what could be that?
So here I see it very philosophically. I mean, I have always seen past as a bundle of lessons. And when I visit these sites, especially if I have to mention the ancient temples, the stone temples of Indian subcontinent, there is so much script and carved on these walls, which speaks of the past. It's global pursuits. It's way of endorsing human life. So there is so much uh, there's so much which has been done in the past. We need to decide: are we heading towards or more forward from the past which we already had, or we are still stagnant or going back? So that is something which actually always always try to convince me that you see you there are that your own society, your own ancestors have actually progressed much ahead of it. And it's totally upon us, I mean, as 21st century living beings, that now what part we actually is looking for and looking forward to. So just a message to the masses and the viewers is that past is there to make you feel that there have been incidences in the past, and there have been scenes in the past. You just have to learn and move ahead with it, and be a wise out of those principles that you don't commit the same mistake, and be a better version of yourself. That is how I see history.
Wonderful, Shiva. I mean, I think in our channel, maybe this is one of the rarest, or maybe the first video where we've moved out of the environment, but then our heritage and environment being connected, our nature being connected to our rich heritage, all these things, you put it very wonderfully.
I'm really grateful that you gave me this opportunity because I see nature and built heritage very closely associated. And I think I will be privileged that if I can interlink and if I can be a source of interlink between these two aspects of heritage, nature and built both.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Shiva, and wishing you all the very best. I mean, let all your dreams come true. Let you be a shining star in our environmental and heritage scene in India. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you, Abhi. Thank you for having me over. I'm glad to be part of this interview. Thank you so much.